the office at Bethany Travel, your storefront, and we are back. I am back home, so happy to be back here in my little setting for
Yes.
our Friday social media.
Yeah, Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy
Happy
Easter
Good
week.
Friday.
Yeah, Good
Yes.
Friday.
hmm
Exactly. Easter weekend. I hope everyone enjoys the nice weather today and this weekend. It looks to be super nice, especially
Yes.
tomorrow. So
Yes.
hopefully you get outside, and if you have kids or grandkids, you get out and play with them and have a great weekend. But no, we're back on the beach here in Millsboro. Another beautiful day. So we have a lot to cover today. So stay tuned with us. We'll try to get through it quickly, but um, a lot of people have been asking that have come in the office or called that they want to hear about Cindy's trip. So stay tuned for that. We're going to touch on that at the end of this. So that's going to be the last thing we talk about. That way we don't drag it on. But no, the first thing I think we're excited about, we're officially bringing back our Princess Cruise Night.
Yes.
Everyone's bucket list is Alaska, and these shows always sell out for us. So we are excited. April 15th, we released it on social media. We sent the email blast. We think we put it even in our newsletter that goes out. But we're doing that April 15th, 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. right here in our office. The 4 p.m., believe it or not, is already almost filled.
These shows always sell out because everybody wants to know more about Alaska, which Princess is excellent at, and also Europe and Caribbean. So they do the world. So they do a really nice job.
Yep. So our rep Glenn is going to be coming in for that, giving a good presentation. So if you're interested, feel free to call the office or sign right up on our social media page or our email that we sent out. We posted the link in there. It's just going to take you to a Google form, and then we'll email you about 24 hours just to confirm that you will be attending in case if people are on the wait list. That way we can kind of get people in for the show. So that's going to be great. Some other great things this month. Viking Cruise Line released their promotions again for April. And, I know in March we had a lot of clients take advantage of that, up to $1,000 of onboard credit, free international air and if you have looked at airfare lately, that is crazy. That is amazing. Along with, or up to $1,000 of, onboard credit or free beverage and gratuities, which that's probably a $600 saving at best. So Viking again rolls it out. You just never know what they're going to do. Very similar to like Sandals. It's just like they're always going to give you a promotion, but you never know what it is. And then Sandals also, the last minute deals with them, the all the discounting they're doing for the month of April.
777 deals.
Exactly.
And just with Sandals and Beaches, I mean, availability is tight. It's tight even for 27. So don't think, I had somebody ask me yesterday, am I too early to be booking Beaches Turks for 27? I was like, oh no. So we luckily are finding something for them, but it's not too early, and it's a $400 refundable deposit. So go ahead and get it in even for 28. Make your plans ahead of time, and you're going to get the best options, the best availability, and the best price.
Yeah, I mean, I had clients that were in Sandals and the Grill. They just came home yesterday, but they texted me on the way home that they tried to get into Beaches, Turks and Caicos for 27, and availability when they wanted to go was already so scarce. They had to push their trip out to 28, which they were fine with because they could pay over. That way it's not so close to payment. But they were like, yeah, we wanted to do 27, but we just didn't want the room category, and what we wanted just wasn't available. Which
and that happens to us. Crazy. I mean, we've gone every year, and I'm looking at 26 going, oh no, this might be the year we might have to skip Beaches Turks for our family because there is like hardly any availability. So but we go through it too. But make those plans early. 2028 is not too early to be putting down a refundable deposit.
Yeah, that's great. And then the next thing we'll talk about here is I am excited to finally, I worked on it all day yesterday. We are going to be launching a groups page on our website. It took me probably like 4 hours yesterday, but collecting all the information that we needed. But the one question that we always get asked, a lot is, what groups do you have going on? Now we'll be able to direct people right to our website. It's going to have sign-up links where you can sign up for that trip right there. You can go view the itineraries. And I think after doing it, we have 13 trips going on. So for the month of or for the year of 2027, we have a group going out every single month. except for January.
Yeah.
That's one thing we were talking about yesterday. We do not have a January just because of the holidays and then the new year. We kind of thought let everybody get settled into the new year, not do a group trip. But starting in February, we have a group of already 14 couples heading to Montego Bay, Sandals. So there is availability in for that one. But also, we can't forget about our 2026 groups that we still have out there. We have our group to Curacao. We have 21 rooms, only 8 available at this time, 8 or 9. So don't miss out. That trip is filling up quickly. And if you have not been to Sandals Rio Curacao, I feel like we say it all the time, but it's just another one of those resorts that once you go, it's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to wow you.
I know you had clients at Sandals Rio Curacao when you were away, and she was emailing us of literally when she got on there, she just literally emailed us and said, wow.
She had never done a Sandals before, had never done all inclusive. I'd done Hawaii for different things. And I was like, why don't you go to Curacao? And she was like, okay. Kind of looked at it, picked out a great room category for her. And that's what I saw. I was copied on the email. So while I was in Europe, I saw her email, just like all it said was wow. So that's what you're going to do when you get there. It just is going to wow you. And it's going to make you want to keep going back. And I'm pretty sure she booked again.
Yeah, she did.
She did. Yeah. So, they always take advantage of the loyalty and travel offers, which we recommend. And people are doing that. And you're saving money. They're saving money and getting in on what they want at a discount by booking on resort, turning it right over to us. So it's easy and it's going to save you money.
Yeah, we have that almost down to a seamless process now. We do. And our clients are starting to really understand, like, hey, can you send me the email? I just booked this on resort and bing, bang, boom.
Or they text us or emails from the resort, like, what was that you were talking about? No worries. I mean, it's not a timeshare. It's a discount off of your next stay up to 2 years, can be moved out an additional year. And you're going to get a 10 to 12% discount on top of every other discount that's out there. So it is a no-brainer. I always tell people, if you don't know where you want to go, just put $250 down, back it up to as far as you can, and we'll work out the details.
Yeah. And then we'll do a shameless plug here about our YouTube page, that we have a lot of good videos that I've been posting, making, and that way we can share with our clients when we do get asked that. But we do have an official YouTube page. It's Bethany Travel DE for Delaware on YouTube. So I'm posting that almost every day of the different videos that we have. She probably didn't even know we had one.
Know we had one. So there you go.
But no, all the videos that we get asked a lot of questions about that we've made over the last 2 years since I've been coming up on my 2-year anniversary here. But no, we have our YouTube page that we usually send. We're going to be sending out links if you do have questions that Cindy's already pretty much answered, but now we have in a video form, and the clients we have sent it to have really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So. I don't even know if I've seen it, but we're on resort together, and Brendan's just like, let's do a video on this. So I just talk, and he videos, makes it look all nice, and now we have a YouTube.
Yep. And then the last thing besides Curacao we have is our Thanksgiving cruise that Kelly and Tammy from the office will be on. And I know they're excited about that. We're starting to get some cabins filled in on that. Kelly and Tammy always say, what would you rather do, cook or be on a cruise being cooked for?
I know what I'd rather do.
But no, they're excited about that. So if you're interested in, and it's going right out of Norfolk, Virginia, so not too far. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to us here at the office. Kelly and Tammy can help you out with getting you booked on that trip. And looks like a fun trip.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep.
Weather will be great. It's a good time of the year. We're outside of hurricane season. It's still warm, and it's just a nice ending to the year.
Yeah, I agree. But let's get to the fun stuff here. We did a couple videos, if you follow along, when Cindy was in Europe. She had a whirlwind of a trip. And I think what we'll do here is I'll set my timer, because I know we'll get to give me a little cut action here. But
it was an amazing trip, and I could talk forever. So I can do that with you one-on-one. But Brandon's going to give me the little ticker, and I can just give you a recap. So I just spent 21 nights in Europe. So longest time I've ever been away. First time to Europe. Amazing. The first week I went to Amsterdam and did 3 nights on a Viking cruise that I was invited on, which was amazing. And then I did 4 nights attending the American Society of Travel Agents river cruise event, where there were 12 river cruise companies or ships there that we could tour. I had lunch on them, dinner on them, workshops, learning all about them, kind of figuring out, they're all great, but what's best for our clients, because that's what I do with sandals. They're all great, but what's best for you? So now I have all that more knowledge on the river cruise companies, which is a huge thing for us. So I then, after that, flew from Amsterdam to Rome, and met with our Bethany Travel Group of 34 travelers from the office, that we did an Italian Vistas tour with Colette. And this was my first guided tour. I can tell you, if you want to see everything, do everything, have it seamless, have all your tickets purchased, never wait in line, never worry about how am I getting here or there, take a guided tour.
Yeah.
It is fast paced. Each tour will tell you. This was a very fast paced because it was 12 nights. We did 3 nights in Rome, where we did the Vatican, St. Peter's Basilica. I saw the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, the Pantheon, everything. And even like local free time for local shopping and food. Then we moved on to Sorrento for 2 nights, Florence for 2 nights, Venice for 2 nights, and ended up in Stresa, which had to be I know why they save it for last. It is the most beautiful area I've ever seen. And it's right on Lake Maggiore. So, and then we actually got to have an optional tour that was included to Switzerland, because we were on the Simplon Pass, which went right from the front of our hotel up to Switzerland. And it had snowed the night before. Our weather was great down in Stresa. It was actually short sleeve, no jacket weather. Got up there, it snowed the night before. Amazing. So if you ever wanted to see mountains and snow, and there was even people skiing, amazing. So we got to do that. And like I said, that was my trip to Europe, and glad to be home, but glad I had that opportunity.
Now is the fun part. I get to ask all the questions about it. So
obviously I talked really fast.
Yeah, so. that was fast. That was a good overview. But let's start with the river cruise part. The thing that we always get asked is, what's the best company, right? And I think for us at the agency, we've mentioned it time and time again, we like to partner with people that partner with us. And that way we know not only do you have our 24-hour cell number, but we also have a company that we can rely on if something were to happen and you need to get home, you have an emergency. That way we have someone to call immediately. And I think for us, I think you experienced that, not for the emergency part, but the welcoming on the Viking cruise and then the Avalon cruise. And one thing I wanted to ask you, and I was glad you got to experience this, was when you think river cruise, you think retired people, you think about slow pace, but maybe talk about what you learned, not only for Viking, but also for Avalon, that it can kind of be all ages, right?
Can. I mean, Avalon actually did one workshop where they were saying, your Disney families that have always gone to Disney, now the kids are getting a little older, they're graduating from high school and college, take them on a river cruise, because Avalon has an active and discovery, where they're going to have bikes on board, they're going to have entertainment at night. You can do things as relaxed or as fast paced as you want. Viking had e-bikes, so there was an e-bike tour. I chose the walking tour. People I met on there, they were your age, so they took the e-bike tour. But I mean, there's so many options, and no, it's not just for older people. Viking is going to be adults only. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Then I moved over to Avalon, which I didn't get to sail, but I got to stay on a beautiful panorama suite, which I can only imagine if I was sailing the rivers, the whole window just opens up floor to ceiling, and bathroom was amazing. And they had, a little bit more entertainment and stuff. And then we also saw, for our high-end travelers, who we always say, once you do Talc, you're going to stay with Talc. But I was also on the MS Grace, which is a Talc riverboat, which again is very, very luxury oriented, but not stuffy and fancy, so everybody, like I said, the food, the service. So I think my top picks were going to be Viking, Avalon, and Talc.
Yeah, no, that's good,
because they're all great. I mean, they all are great, but we can't know about 12 different river cruise companies. So we are focusing on the ones that we have reps that work with us almost daily. And we know that, like you said, if we have an issue, we can get a hold of that rep and we can fix the problem. And that's how we work here at Bethany Travel.
Yeah,
and they're family-owned businesses, just like we are. And that's something we really take into account.
Yeah. I think for you, it was a good experience too, because obviously you've been to the Caribbean, you don't even know how many times at this point. but it was good to those people that are, to see you, branch out to go see different part of the
Yeah.
world. And that was what one of my questions was going to be. How did you feel other than obviously traveling alone until you met the group? But, how did like your overall experience of seeing a different part of the world?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I mean, it was great, and like I said, it was just, I've been in this business like 25 to 30 years, and never had been to Europe. It just never kind of like sold it, but never really went. Just, I mean, when you love to travel, you just love every new experience. So nothing like the Caribbean. Two definitely different products, but I would definitely do, if somebody wants to do both in a year, I think that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So do your Caribbean trip when it's cold here. It was just the start of the season, so peak season is going to start right after Easter, they told me. So we actually went at a great time. The lines weren't long. It was a little chillier than what it will be in a couple weeks, but to not have those lines and not have, the crowds and that kind of stuff, it was great. And, September is also great. So my idea would be go to the Caribbean in the winter when it's cold here and golf in the Caribbean, and then go off on your river cruise in, maybe like April, May, or even in September.
Yeah. No, that's great information. I'm just sitting here listening, like, wow, that I'm thinking in my head.
I have a plan for you all, so no worries.
I think I want to do that now. But let's just to close, maybe give your experience in Italy is such a hot destination
Mhm.
for us, and you always hear about like the touristy places like
Mhm.
Rome, the Vatican. But maybe just give your, you know, the your perspective on the tour guide Val
Oh
who you had,
gosh.
and how comfortable she made you
Yeah.
feel, because a lot of times people like, oh, I don't want to have to lug my luggage. And
Mhm.
maybe just finish on how well Colette made that process
Yeah.
whole
So
seamless.
it I've never done that, and I never really thought I wanted to do that because I am a unpacker. I look like I lived in the room as soon as I get there, but this is not that kind of tour, but it was so worth it. So, Valeria, we call her Val, she was our tour guide and amazing from start to finish, sending us everybody in the group a welcome letter. We knew everything, about her. We knew she actually lives in Italy. And then even down to your motor coach driver. Now, who would think you'd have a relationship with your motor coach driver? But we had Diego, and he was like a big teddy bear. Everybody loved Diego because Diego was taking care of, if you were going off on a tour and you had valuables on the bus, he was like, no problem, I don't leave the bus. He also took care of all of our luggage. I saw a lot of other tour companies. I'm not quite sure which ones they were, but a lot of people were dragging their suitcases through the lobbies, up to their rooms. We didn't do that. It was so seamless. We would get to the hotel. We would have our bags underneath, you have your little carry on. Val would be in the lobby handing out our keys. We would go up to our rooms. Our bags would magically appear like 10 minutes later. And the same thing when it was time to leave. We just had to have our bags outside of the door by a certain time, very organized. She would have a flyer in the lobby where you had just took a picture of it and you knew exactly what you were doing. But we weren't carrying bags and we weren't waiting in lines and we weren't,
Yeah.
and even the times you're moving. One fun fact that I didn't know that I don't know if anybody knows, Italy is the size of Florida. So it is not as big as I thought. So
Right.
literally, we almost covered most of it. But it's so different because you go from Rome, where you have the bustling city and the Vatican and the Colosseum and all the things, and then you work your way down, and then you end up in Stresa, and it's beautiful mountains and lakes. So
Yeah.
it is such a diverse country, and
Yeah.
like I said, there's something for everyone. And I think you do these tours and then you figure out where you want to go back to.
Right.
So it's kind of like when I started cruising 30 years ago. You might cruise to several different islands, but then you figure out which ones you like and where you want to go. So I think that is the best thing for a tour. Take that fast-paced tour, see everything, figure out what you like, and then hone in on a different area.
Yeah. No, that's great. That was a lot of information. What a great
I
Friday.
know.
Thank you for sharing all the perspectives. And, I think a lot of times, a lot of the things that you answered and talked about, those are a lot of questions that
Hmm.
people ask on a weekly
Yeah,
basis.
and we
And
sell Europe. I mean, we both sell
yep,
Europe. Let me tell you, it's kind of like when I went to Alaska for the first time. You can sell it, but until you see it,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But once you see it, it's just like, oh my God, all those little tidbits and facts and, oh, I've been there. Oh, here's my picture. I was here
Yeah.
on this day. And, it just becomes so much easier. So now it's your turn.
That's right. Yep. That will happen here shortly.
There you go.
You'll find out the dates for that. But no, that's amazing. We just want to thank everybody who tuned in or watched or is watching later in the day when they got home from work. We just want to wish everyone a great Easter weekend, and I hope you get time to spend with your family and be outside like we said earlier. But we'll close this as always.
The internet's for looking.
Bethany Travels for booking. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a great week.